Hashtag the diplomat's gambit. The holographic projection flickered to life in the United Nations General Assembly, casting an eerie blue glow across the faces of Earth's leaders. The being that materialized before them was tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to ripple like water. Its large, multifaceted eyes scanned the room, and when it spoke, its voice resonated with a harmonic quality that was both beautiful and terrifying. People of Earth, the alien began. I am High Commander Zexera of the Novanite Imperium. Your planet has been observed for centuries, and the time has come for you to take your place in the galactic order. A murmur rippled through the assembly, a mixture of awe and fear. Secretary General Amina Khalil stepped forward, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, High Commander. What do you propose? Zexera's expression, if it could be called that, remained impassive. Proposal implies choice, human. This is a demand. Earth will submit to Novanite rule, or it will be annihilated. You have 30 rotations of your planet to decide. The hologram vanished, leaving the assembly in stunned silence. Chaos erupted moments later, with delegates shouting, arguing, and some even breaking down in tears. The future of humanity hung in the balance, and the weight of it was almost unbearable. In the midst of the pandemonium, a calm voice cut through the noise. We need to negotiate. All eyes turned to the source. Dr. Ilara Chen, Earth's foremost xenolinguist and cultural anthropologist. She stood, her posture resolute, her eyes blazing with determination. Negotiate. General Hawthorne scoffed. Did you not hear the alien? They're not here to talk. We need to ready our defenses, show them we won't go down without a fight. Ilara shook her head. Violence is what they expect. It's what they understand. But it's not our only option. Secretary General Khalil raised her hand, silencing the room. Dr. Chen, what do you propose? Send me, Ilara said simply. Not as a soldier, not as a politician, but as a diplomat. Let me go to their world, speak to their leaders face to face. If we can understand them, we might find a way to change their minds. The room erupted again, this time in disbelief. Send one person to face an alien empire. It seemed like madness. But as the arguments raged on, a strange sense of possibility began to take hold. It's suicide, someone muttered. It's our only chance, another countered. As the debate continued, Ilara stood firm. She knew the risks, knew that she might be flying to her death, but she also knew that humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to connect, to empathize, to find common ground even in the most unlikely places. Secretary General Khalil finally raised her hand again, her decision made. Dr. Chen, you have 24 hours to prepare. We'll ready our fastest ship. May whatever gods exist have mercy on us all. As Ilara left the assembly to begin her preparations, she felt the weight of 7 billion lives on her shoulders. But she also felt a spark of hope. In the vast tapestry of the universe, surely there was room for understanding. And if not, well, at least humanity's last act would be one of peace. The countdown to humanity's greatest challenge had begun. The next 24 hours passed in a blur of activity. As news of the Novanite ultimatum spread, the world held its collective breath. Panic gripped some cities, while others fell into an eerie calm. In the midst of it all, Dr. Ilara Chen prepared for the most important journey of her life, and quite possibly the most crucial mission in human history. In a secure facility beneath Geneva, Ilara stood before a panel of world leaders and scientific experts. Her calm demeanor belied the storm of emotions within her. Dr. Chen, General Hawthorne began, his voice gruff with skepticism. You're proposing to face an advanced alien civilization armed with nothing but words. How do you expect to succeed where our military might would fail? Ilara met his gaze steadily. General, throughout history, some of our greatest victories have come not through force, but through understanding. The Novanites clearly value strength, but they've also achieved interstellar travel. That requires cooperation, curiosity, and innovation, qualities we share. She turned to address the entire room. We can't match their technology or their weapons, but we can offer something they might not expect. A new perspective, our diversity, our art, our ability to empathize and adapt. These are our true strengths. Secretary General Khalil leaned forward. And if they refuse to listen, then we'll have lost nothing more than we would by submitting or fighting a hopeless war, Ilara replied. But if they do listen, we might just save humanity and gain an ally in the process. The room fell silent as the weight of her words sank in. It was a gamble, but one with the potential for an unprecedented payoff. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the lead xenobiologist, spoke up. We've prepared a database of human knowledge for you, Dr. Chen. Art, literature, scientific achievements, philosophical treatises, a distillation of the best of humanity. Ilara nodded gratefully. Thank you. I believe understanding goes both ways. I intend to learn as much about the Novanites as I can. Their history, their culture, their motivations. These could be the keys to finding common ground. As the meeting concluded, Ilara was led to a sleek spacecraft, a marvel of human engineering designed for this very mission. The ship was christened Olive Branch, a name that carried the weight of humanity's hopes. Standing before the ship, Ilara addressed the small crowd of officials and scientists. I go not just as an individual, but as a representative of all humanity. Our differences, our struggles, our triumphs, I carry them all with me. And I go with hope, not fear. As she prepared to board, a young assistant rushed up, pressing a small object into her hand. Ilara looked down to see a simple wooden flute. For when words fail, the assistant said with a shy smile. Ilara clutched the flute, touched by the gesture. It was a reminder of the power of human creativity and expression, perhaps their greatest weapons in this interstellar confrontation. With a deep breath, she boarded the Olive Branch. The ship's engines hummed to life, a sound that seemed to resonate with the collective heartbeat of humanity. As the craft rose into the sky, breaking free of Earth's atmosphere, Ilara felt a profound mix of terror and exhilaration. She was leaving behind everything she knew, venturing into the unknown with nothing but her wits, her knowledge, and the collective wisdom of her species. The fate of Earth rested on her shoulders, but as the blue planet receded from view, Ilara felt a surge of determination. The journey to Nova Prime, the heart of the Novanite Imperium, had begun. And with it, the greatest diplomatic mission in human history was underway. The vastness of space stretched before Ilara, a canvas of infinite black punctuated by the brilliant pinpricks of distant stars. The Olive Branch glided smoothly through the cosmos, its advanced propulsion system allowing it to cover vast distances in remarkably short times. Yet even at these incredible speeds, the journey to Nova Prime would take several days. Ilara used this time to immerse herself in study. She pored over the database of Novanite information that Earth's scientists had compiled. Their biology fascinated her. A silicon-based life form that had evolved in a high-pressure, high-temperature environment. Their society was highly structured, with a caste system that seemed to value technological and military prowess above all else. How do you reason with a culture that sees conquest as a virtue? Ilara mused aloud, her voice echoing in the empty ship. As if in response, the ship's eye assistant, Aria, chimed in. Dr. Chen, I've detected an anomaly in our flight path. We're being approached by an unidentified vessel. Ilara's heart raced as she moved to the command console. Can you establish communication? Before Aria could respond, a harsh, guttural voice filled the cabin. Human vessel, you have entered restricted space. Identify yourself and state your purpose. Taking a deep breath, Ilara replied, This is Dr. Ilara Chen of Earth, on a diplomatic mission to Nova Prime at the invitation of High Commander Xera. There was a long pause before the voice returned, tinged with what sounded like amusement. A diplomatic mission. Your species faces annihilation. And you send a lone diplomat. How? Quaint. Ilara felt a flicker of anger, but kept her voice steady. We believe in the power of dialogue and understanding. Surely, a species as advanced as yours can appreciate the value of diverse perspectives. Another pause, longer this time. Then, you may proceed, human. But know this. Your words will not save you if they fail to impress the High Command. As the transmission cut off, Ilara let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. This brief encounter had confirmed her suspicions. The Novanites viewed humans as inferior, barely worth their attention. But it had also revealed something crucial. They were curious. Curious enough to let her continue, at least. The rest of the journey was uneventful, but Ilara's mind raced with possibilities and strategies. She practiced her opening statements, refined her arguments, and even spent time with the wooden flute, finding comfort in its simple melodies. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Nova Prime came into view. It was a massive planet, easily twice the size of Earth, with swirling storms of vibrant purples and greens visible even from space. As the olive branch began its descent, Ilara got her first glimpse of Novanite civilization. Massive structures rose from the planet's surface, defying gravity and logic. They seemed to be made of a material that shifted and flowed, adapting to the harsh environment. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. The ship landed on a designated platform, and as the airlock hissed open, Ilara was hit with a wave of heat and pressure that made her grateful for her protective suit. A delegation of Novanites awaited her, their iridescent bodies towering over her. One stepped forward, its multifaceted eyes fixed on Ilara. I am Vexilor, aide to High Commander Zexera. You will follow me, human. The High Command awaits your diplomacy. The way Vexilor said diplomacy made it sound like a slur, but Ilara refused to be intimidated. With her head held high, she stepped onto the alien world, the fate of humanity resting on her shoulders. As she followed Vexilor towards a towering structure that seemed to pierce the turbulent sky, Ilara couldn't help but feel a mix of awe and determination. She was about to face the leaders of a civilization that could destroy Earth with a thought. But she was also about to present them with something they had never encountered before, the full depth and breadth of human spirit. The real challenge was about to begin. The chamber of the High Command was a vast, circular room with walls that seemed to ripple and shift, mirroring the iridescent skin of the Novanites themselves. Ilara stood at the center, surrounded by towering alien figures. Their multifaceted eyes gleamed with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. High Commander Zexera's voice boomed through the chamber. Speak, human. Explain why we should not simply eradicate your species and claim your world as our own. Ilara took a deep breath, steeling herself. This was the moment she had prepared for. High Commander, esteemed members of the Novanet High Command, I stand before you not to beg for mercy, but to propose an alternative that could benefit us both far more than conquest ever could. She paused, noting the slight shift in the Novanites' postures, a sign of intrigue, perhaps. You see us as a primitive species, and by your technological standards, perhaps we are. But technology isn't everything. Humanity's greatest strength lies in our diversity, our creativity, and our ability to innovate in the face of adversity. Ilara activated a holographic projector she had brought with her. Images of Earth's greatest artworks, scientific achievements, and natural wonders filled the air around her. We have created beauty in myriad forms. We have unraveled the mysteries of our universe, from the smallest particle to the largest cosmic structures. We have faced extinction-level events and survived, adapting and growing stronger. One of the Novanite leaders leaned forward, their voice a low hum. Pretty images do not change the fact that you are weak. Your world is ripe for conquest. Ilara nodded, having anticipated this response. Strength comes in many forms, honored one. Consider this. Despite our relative technological inferiority, we detected your presence in our solar system. We decoded your transmission. We built a ship capable of reaching your world in a matter of days. All of this we accomplished in the short time since you revealed yourselves to us." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Ilara pressed on, sensing a shift in the atmosphere. "Imagine what we could accomplish as allies rather than conquests. Our unique perspectives could unlock innovations you haven't even conceived of. Our art could open new realms of experience for your people. Our adaptability could help you overcome challenges in ways you never considered." High Commander Zexera's eyes narrowed. "You speak of abstract concepts, human. We deal in concrete realities. Power, resources, dominion." Ilara smiled, reaching into her pocket. "Then allow me to demonstrate something concrete." She pulled out the wooden flute. "This simple instrument, crafted from the floor of our world, is capable of producing sounds that can evoke profound emotional responses." She brought the flute to her lips and began to play. The melody that filled the chamber was haunting, a blend of Earth's most moving compositions. Notes hung in the air, weaving a tapestry of sound that seemed to resonate with the very walls of the room. As she played, Ilara observed the Novanites closely. Their iridescent skin rippled in patterns she hadn't seen before. Some swayed slightly, while others stood perfectly still, their multifaceted eyes fixed on her. When the last note faded, there was silence. Then, to Ilara's astonishment, one of the Novanite leaders spoke, their voice uncharacteristically soft. What was that sensation?" "We call it music," Ilara explained. "It's a form of communication that transcends language, conveying emotions and ideas in ways words often cannot. This is just one small example of what humanity can offer." High Commander Zexera raised a hand, silencing the murmurs that had broken out. "You have intrigued us, human. But do not mistake intrigue for acceptance. You will remain here while we deliberate. This council will reconvene when we have reached a decision." As Ilara was led from the chamber, she felt a glimmer of hope. It wasn't a victory, not yet, but she had done what she came to do. She had made them listen. The first seeds of understanding had been planted. Now she had to nurture them, and hope they would grow into something that could save her world. Ilara was escorted to a chamber that would serve as her quarters during the deliberations. The room was alien in design, with undulating walls and furniture that seemed to grow from the floor. Despite the strange environment, Ilara felt a surge of hope. She had managed to pique the Novanites' interest, and now she had to build on that foundation. Over the next few days, Ilara was visited by various Novanite officials, each curious about different aspects of human culture. She saw this as an opportunity to deepen their understanding and appreciation of humanity. To a group of Novanite scientists, she introduced the concept of music theory, explaining how mathematics and emotion intertwined in human compositions. She used her flute to demonstrate, watching in fascination as the Novanite skin rippled in complex patterns in response to different harmonies. "Fascinating," one scientist remarked, their multifaceted eyes gleaming. "You use vibrations not just for communication, but for inducing emotional states. This could have applications in our neural interface technology." To the Novanite historians, Ilara spoke of Earth's diverse cultures and the rich tapestry of human history. She shared tales of great leaders, thinkers, and innovators who had shaped human civilization. "Your species seems to thrive on conflict and resolution," a historian observed. "Each challenge you faced has led to growth and innovation." Ilara nodded. "It's true. Our history is filled with both darkness and light, but it's our ability to learn from our mistakes and strive for better that defines us." One evening, a young Novanite named Zexera, who Ilara learned was the offspring of the High Commander, came to her with questions about human art. "I don't understand," Zexera said, gesturing to a holographic display of various Earth paintings. "Why do you create static images that do not adapt to their environment?" Ilara smiled. "Art, for us, is about capturing a moment, an emotion, or an idea. It's a way of seeing the world through someone else's eyes." She pointed to Van Gogh's Starry Night. This artist saw the night sky as a swirling dynamic force. He captured not just what he saw, but what he felt. Zixera's skin shimmered in what Ilara had come to recognize as a sign of deep thought. And this helps you understand each other better. Exactly, Ilara replied. It's a form of communication that goes beyond words. As the days passed, Ilara noticed a subtle shift in the Nova Knight's behavior towards her. The initial disdain had given way to genuine curiosity. They began to ask more profound questions, not just about human achievements, but about human philosophies, ethics, and ways of thinking. Ilara seized every opportunity to showcase humanity's potential. She introduced them to human literature, philosophy, and even humor. She demonstrated problem-solving techniques that differed from Nova Knight approaches, showing how human creativity could offer new perspectives on old challenges. One particularly memorable moment came when she introduced a group of Nova Knight engineers to the concept of biomimicry, the practice of emulating nature's time-tested patterns and strategies in human innovation. You mean to say, one engineer clicked in astonishment, that your flying machines were inspired by observing avian creatures on your world? Ilara nodded, bringing up holographic images of birds and early human aircraft designs. We've learned that nature, through millions of years of evolution, has often already solved the problems we're grappling with. By observing and adapting these solutions, we've made incredible technological leaps. The engineers chittered amongst themselves excitedly, their iridescent skin flashing in patterns Ilara hadn't seen before. She realized with a start that she was witnessing the birth of new ideas among the Nova Knights, ideas sparked by human ingenuity. As Ilara retired to her chambers that night, she felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. She was making progress, but the final decision still loomed. Would this cultural exchange be enough to save Earth? Or would the Nova Knights ultimately decide that humanity was still not worth preserving? The fate of her species still hung in the balance, and Ilara knew that the real test was yet to come. As the days stretched into weeks, Ilara began to feel the weight of her mission more acutely. She had made progress, yes, but the High Command had yet to reconvene and deliver their verdict. The fate of Earth still hung in the balance. One morning, as Ilara was preparing for another day of cultural exchange, alarms began blaring throughout the Nova Knight complex. The walls pulsed with urgent patterns, and Ilara could hear the sound of hurried movement outside her chamber. Moments later, Zixera burst into the room, their iridescent skin flashing with what Ilara had come to recognize as distress. "Human Ilara, you must come quickly. There's been an incident in one of our quantum laboratories." Without hesitation, Ilara followed Zixera through the twisting corridors of the Nova Knight structure. They arrived at a sealed chamber where High Commander Zixera and a group of agitated scientists were gathered. "What's happening?" Ilara asked, taking in the scene of chaos before her. One of the scientists turned to her, their multifaceted eyes flickering rapidly. "We were attempting to harness a new form of energy, but the reaction has become unstable. If we can't contain it, it could devastate half the continent." Ilara's mind raced. This was a crisis, yes, but it was also an opportunity, a chance to demonstrate human ingenuity and compassion in action. "Let me help," she said, stepping forward. "Tell me everything you know about the reaction." The Nova Knights exchanged glances, a mix of surprise and skepticism evident in their postures. But with no other options, they began explaining the intricacies of their experiment. As Ilara listened, she began to draw parallels to similar challenges faced by human scientists. The principles weren't identical, but the underlying concepts were familiar. She thought of the human propensity for outside-the-box thinking, for finding solutions in unexpected places. "What if," she began, her voice growing more confident as the idea took shape, "we approach this not as an energy containment problem, but as an energy redirection problem?" She quickly outlined a plan, combining Nova Knight technology with principles of fluid dynamics the human scientists had developed studying ocean currents. The Nova Knight scientists were initially skeptical, but as Ilara explained further, Their doubt gave way to cautious optimism. With time running out, the High Commander gave the go-ahead. Ilara worked alongside the Novanite scientists, her human perspective complementing their advanced technology in ways neither had anticipated. Together, they constructed a makeshift device that would channel the unstable energy into Nova Prime's upper atmosphere, where it could safely dissipate. As they activated the device, everyone held their breath. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly but surely, the readings on the Novanite instruments began to stabilize. Outside, the sky lit up with a spectacular display of colors as the excess energy was harmlessly absorbed into the atmosphere. The chamber erupted in a chorus of relieved clicks and hums. Ilara found herself enveloped in the shimmering embrace of Zexera, an unprecedented display of physical affection from a Novanite. High Commander Zexera approached Ilara, their towering form seeming less intimidating than before. "You have done us a great service, human. Your quick thinking and unique perspective saved many lives today." Ilara nodded, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and elation. "This is what I've been trying to show you, High Commander. Humanity's greatest strength is our ability to adapt, to find creative solutions to challenges. We don't just survive, we innovate." The High Commander was silent for a moment, their iridescent skin rippling with complex patterns. Finally, they spoke. Perhaps we have underestimated your species. It seems there is more to strength than mere technological superiority or military might." As Ilara looked around at the Novanites, she saw something she hadn't seen before: respect. In this moment of crisis, she had shown them the true value of humanity. It wasn't just about art or music or abstract concepts. It was about their unique way of thinking, their ability to complement and enhance the Novanites' own capabilities. For the first time since her arrival on Nova Prime, Ilara felt a real sense of hope. The tide was turning. The Novanites were beginning to see humans not as primitive beings to be conquered, but as potential allies with valuable contributions to offer. As she was led back to her chambers to rest, Ilara knew that the final decision was yet to come. But now she faced it not with fear, but with confidence. She had shown the Novanites the best of humanity. Now it was up to them to decide what to do with that knowledge. The day of the final deliberation arrived. Ilara stood once again in the chamber of the High Command, her heart pounding, but her resolve unwavering. The air was thick with anticipation as High Commander Zexera stepped forward. "Dr. Ilara Chen of Earth," the commander's voice resonated through the chamber. "When you first arrived, we saw you as a curiosity at best, a final, futile gesture from a doomed species. We expected to find weakness. Instead, we found strength, not in weapons or technology, but in spirit, creativity, and adaptability." Ilara held her breath as Zexera continued. "Your music moved us in ways we didn't know were possible. Your art challenged our perceptions. Your sciences, while less advanced in some areas, offer fresh perspectives that have already led to breakthroughs in our own research." The commander's multifaceted eyes seemed to bore into Ilara. "And in our moment of crisis, you stood with us, using your unique human ingenuity to save countless Novanite lives." A ripple of agreement passed through the assembled alien leaders. Zexera raised a hand, silencing the murmurs. "We have deliberated long and hard on the fate of Earth and humanity. Our decision is this: the ultimatum is withdrawn. Earth will not be conquered or destroyed." Ilara felt a wave of relief wash over her, but she knew there was more to come. Zexera confirmed her thoughts. "However, we propose something unprecedented in the history of the Novanite Imperium. We wish to extend an offer of alliance to Earth." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of clicks and hums. Ilara stood stunned, barely able to comprehend the magnitude of this moment. Zexera continued, "We believe that together, our species can achieve greatness beyond what either of us could accomplish alone. Our technology combined with your creativity, our stability with your adaptability. The potential is limitless." Ilara found her voice at last. "High Commander, esteemed members of the Novanite High Command, on behalf of Earth, I thank you for your wisdom and your willingness to look beyond first impressions. While I cannot unilaterally accept this offer of alliance, I can assure you that it will be received with great enthusiasm and consideration by Earth's leaders." She paused, looking around the chamber at the alien faces that no longer seemed so foreign. "What you're proposing is not just an alliance between worlds, but a bridge between ways of thinking, of experiencing the universe. The path ahead may not always be easy, but I believe it will lead to a future brighter than either of our species could have imagined alone." Zixera stepped forward, addressing both Ilara and the High Command. "Perhaps this is the true strength that we've been seeking all along, not the power to conquer, but the wisdom to cooperate, to learn from those different from ourselves." High Commander Zixera nodded, their iridescent skin shimmering with what Ilara now recognized as approval. "Then let this mark the beginning of a new era for both our peoples. Dr. Chen, you will return to Earth as our ambassador, to convey our proposal and to begin the process of building this unprecedented alliance." As the meeting concluded, Ilara felt a profound sense of accomplishment, tinged with the excitement of the challenges that lay ahead. She had come to Nova Prime, carrying the weight of humanity's fate on her shoulders. She would return to Earth carrying the promise of a future filled with possibilities. In the end, it wasn't military might or advanced technology that had saved humanity. It was the very essence of what made them human: their creativity, their adaptability, their ability to bridge divides and find common ground in the most unlikely places. As Ilara boarded the olive branch for her return journey, she looked back at the towering spires of the Novanite capital. What had begun as a desperate gambit had transformed into the dawn of a new age, not just for humanity, but for the Novanites as well. The stars seemed to shine brighter as the ship lifted off, carrying Ilara and the hopes of two civilizations back towards the blue planet she called home. The diplomat's gambit had paid off, and the universe would never be the same.